भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यभागवतसेवया भागवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Hare Krishna. Welcome to this discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam. We are discussing right now. We completed Canto 1, Chapter 13, the Rashtra quits at home. And now we are into Chapter 14 of Canto 1. And this entire progression of Srimad Bhagavatam is now towards Parikshit Maharaj, his activities. We saw his birth, now it is going towards, the plot is maturing towards opening up details of Parikshit Maharaj's activity. In the previous chapter, Narada Muni had hinted Yudhishthir Maharaj that Lord Krishna had disappeared from the planet, and thus Pandavas could plan their retirement. 7 months ago, Arjuna had gone to Dwarka to meet Krishna. He hasn't returned back yet. Meanwhile, Yudhishthir Maharaj saw many inauspicious omens in his kingdom. He saw irregularities in season, people becoming greedy and deceitful, and so on. As Yudhishthir Maharaj was speaking of these inauspicious omens to his brother Bhima, Arjuna arrived. Seeing Arjuna so dejected with tears in his eyes, concerned Yudhishthir Maharaj asked him several questions about the welfare of the relatives in Dwarka. He also inquired about Arjuna's personal welfare. Seeing Arjuna painfully silent, Yudhishthir Maharaj feared the worst and asked him, is he feeling empty due to losing his most intimate friend, Lord Krishna? Yudhishthir Maharaj also adds on that he could not think of any other reason for his dejection. The bodily symptom that Yudhishthir Maharaj could see on Arjuna, he could not think of any other reason than Arjuna losing his most intimate friend, Lord Krishna. So no pain or pleasure of this mortal world can overwhelm pure devotees. Their pain and pleasure are connected to the separation and union with Krishna. Therefore, Yudhishthira Maharaj is able to guess the reason for Arjuna's rejection. Summary of this chapter, which is chapter 14, is Arjuna composed himself and replied to Yudhishthir Maharaj's question. Uh, Arjuna says that Krishna has left me. He says that my astounding power which astonished even the demigods, is no longer with him. Even the moment of separation from him can cause all the universe's void. He cannot live. Arjuna cannot live. And only by Krishna's grace, Arjuna accepts that he could win the hand of Draupadi, defeat Indra, and astonished Lord Shiva, and killed Nivat Kavacha demons, and regained King Virata's cows and could fight and win over the ocean of invincible warriors in Kurukshetra war. All these achievements of a devotee uh, is only due to the grace of Lord Krishna. A devotee doesn't take credit or become proud of any of big achievements in their life. Although Arjuna was overwhelmed with grief, he accepted everything is will of Lord, and pacified himself by remembering Krishna's instruction in Bhagavad Gita. The most important point we need to understand is that the spiritual master, even if he is physically not present, he is present through his instruction. That is the most important lesson for us in this chapter. This chapter can be split into one, two, three, four, seven topics. Seven topics. And first one is suspicion of Yudhishthira Maharaj. Second one is further bad moments experienced by Yudhishthira. Shloka number 20. Third part is Arjuna's appearance. And then Arjuna is inquired by Yudhishthira Maharaj about Yadus. And then second next part is glory of Krishna. Arjuna is elaborating the now Yudhishthira Maharaj himself is elaborating the glory of Krishna. Then 39 to 43, Yudhishthira inquires about Arjuna's welfare. And sloka number 44, Yudhishthira finally inquires about Krishna's disappearance. The word is missing here. The suspicion of Yudhishthira Maharaj. Let us go to the shlokas 1 to 10. सूत उवाच सम्प्रतिष्ठे द्वारकायां विष्णौ बन्धुभिदीक्षया ज्ञातुं च पुण्यश्लोकस्य कृष्णस्य च विचेष्टितम्. Sri Suta Goswami said, Arjuna went to Dwaraka to see Lord Shri Krishna and other friends and also to learn from the Lord of his next activities. Activities of Krishna, the main activity is Mahabharata. This war was over. Now the next activity was enthroning Yudhishthira as king of Bharatvarsha. This also is completed. Now, by Krishna's will, Vidura visited and delivered Dhritarashtra also. What is next activity? As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Lord descended to the earth for protection of the faithful and annihilation of the impious. So after the battle of Kurukshetra, establishment of Maharaj Yudhishthira, the mission of Lord was complete. Pandavas, especially Arjuna, were eternal companions of the Lord, and therefore Arjuna went to Dwaraka to hear from the Lord of his next program of war. Let's go to next sloka. व्यतीत कतिचा कतिचिन्मासास्तदा नायाततोऽर्जुनः ददर्श घोररूपाणि निमित्तानि Doha. A few months passed, Arjuna did not return. Maharaj Yudhishthira then began to observe some inauspicious humans, which were fearful in themselves. Tadarsha Gora. Gora means fearful. Rupani appearances. Krishna's, if you see this shloka, purport, Lord Krishna's Supreme Personality of Godhead is ad infinitum, more powerful than the most powerful son of our experience. Millions and billions of suns are created by him and annihilated by him within his one breathing. Period. In the material world, the sun is considered to be the source of all productivity and material energy, and only due to sun can we have the necessities of life. Therefore, during the personal presence of Lord on the earth, all paraphernalia for our peace and prosperity, especially religion and knowledge, are in full display because of Lord's presence. Just as there is a full flood of light in presence of glowing sun, Maharaj Yudhishthira observed some discrepancies in this kingdom, and therefore he became very anxious about Arjuna, who was long absent, and there was also no news about Dwarka's well-being. His suspected disappearance of Lord Krishna. Otherwise, there would have been no possibility of fearful omens. From the previous sloka, we understand that Dharma Sthapana was done. Everything was going on good. But now, suddenly, Yudhishthir Maharaj is seeing omens. We can make one-to-one comparison of the world with Krishna and without Krishna. This chapter does this. The analogy for presence of Krishna in the world and not in the world is like electricity available and not available. When electricity is available, the fan, light, and other appliances will be charged. We can utilize those appliances. When it is not there, then there is only darkness. Therefore, in shloka number 1.3.43, it is told, Krishne sadama pagate dharma jnanadivihi saha kalau nashta trishamesha puranaho adunodita. This Bhagavata Purana is as brilliant as the sun, and it has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied by religion, knowledge, etc. Persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance in the age of Kali shall get light from this Purana. Then there is one more interesting shloka here. Kevam nama rupabhyam yadubi saha pandava bhavato darshanam heri rishi kana iveshitu. So this is from Queen Kunti's prayer. As the name and fame of a particular body is finished with disappearance of the living spirit, similarly, if you do not look upon us, our fame and activities along with Pandavas and Yadus will end. Now, next one. Neyam shobhishyate tatra yate danim gadadara tvatpade ankita bhakti vilakshana Swarlakshana Vilakshite. Oh Gadadhar, Krishna, our kingdom is now being marked by the impressions of your feet, and therefore it appears beautiful. But when you leave, it will no longer be there. So, Ime Janapada Swadha Supa Kaushati Virtha Manadri Nadi Ulanvanto Edante Tava Vikshita. All the cities are flourishing in all respects because the herbs and grains are in abundance and the trees are full of fruits. Rivers are flowing, hills are full of minerals, and oceans full of wealth. And this is all due to glancing over them. When Krishna appears, Prakriti is beauty, no, Prakriti is beauty. Prakriti is beautiful, and Prakriti's beauty gets expanded by Srimati Radharani. She is the original Prakriti. She is the original Swarupa Shakti. When she sees Krishna playing flute and is happy, she increases the beauty of the forest. They call this as Vanashobha. Special symptom that showed up when Krishna appeared. When he appeared, though it was Ashtami Tithi, there was full moon. Auspicious stars and constellations were there in the sky. Wind was blowing very mildly. Peacocks were dancing. Cuckoos were cooing. There was light drizzling in the sky. There was lotus and lily in the pond. Ducks, swans, and karamundas were in the pond. Everyone was getting very nice experience. Everyone was happy. Husband and wives were happy. Children were cooperating with parents. Prakriti was flourishing wonderfully. These are all happenings when Krishna is present. But when Krishna is not there, it is just the opposite. Now, Yudhishthir Maharaj will elaborate that in this chapter. Let us go to the next shloka, shloka number 3. Kalasya chagatim raudram viparyastra tu dharminaha viparyasta ritu dharminaha पापीयास्य नृणां वाकां क्रोधलोभ अनर्थ आत्मनां We saw the direction of eternal time has changed, and this was very fearful. There were disruptions in the seasonal regularities. The people in general had become very greedy, angry, and deceitful, and he saw that they were adopting all means of livelihood. To get rain in June and July is very good, but to get in November and December and January is not okay. If this happens, then it is a seasonal irregularity. When I'm talking about this season, I'm talking about keeping India as an example. Same way to rain in February and March hours also is a irregular rain. When civilization is disconnected from the loving relationship or supreme personality of God, symptoms like changes of seasonal regulation, foul means of livelihood, greed and anger, fraudulence become rampant. The change of seasonal regulations refer to one season's atmosphere becoming manifest in another season. For example, rainy season being transferred to autumn, or fructification of fruits and flowers from one season in another season. A man becomes too greedy for wealth and power when he has no higher objective in life. When he thinks that this earthly life of few years is all in all, ignorance is a cause for all these anomalies in human society. And to remove this ignorance, especially in the age of degradation, the powerful sun is there to distribute light in the shape of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the book incarnation which distributes Krishna consciousness, which is Krishna himself in book form. Let us go to the next shloka, shloka number 4. Jima prayam yavar yavahritam satya मिश्रं च सौहृदं पितृमातृभ्रातृ दम्पतीनां च कुल कल कल्कनम्. All ordinary transactions and dealings became polluted with cheating, even between friends and in familial affairs. There was always misunderstanding between fathers, mothers, and sons, between well wishers and between brothers. Even between husband and wife, there was always strain and quarrel. Always lording over one most important thing is lording over of lording over material nature is a form of cheating. So there is interesting shloka in Chaitanya Chaitamrita. From Brahma Pramada Vipralipsa Karna Patva Arsha Vigna Vake Nahi Dosha Esava. Mistakes, illusions, cheating, and defective perception do not occur in sayings of authoritative sages. When we say authoritative sages, not um, they are not driven by false ego. Now, if you see the sentence here, a conditioned living being is endowed with the four principles of marked practice, namely errors, insanity, inability, and cheating. These are signs of imperfection, and out of all, the propensity to cheat other is most prominent. And this cheating practice is there in conditioned souls because conditioned souls are primarily in material imbued with the unnatural desire to lord it over material nature. To lord it over living entities, why should we cheat? The reason is by hiding our mistakes, we want to prove that we are all perfect. And when we prove that we are all perfect, will help us in lording over. anyone. Thus, we cheat. So, cheating propensity, which is Brahma, Pramada, Vipralipsa. So, Vipralipsa is to lord over material nature. Inability to conquer the enemies and direct confrontation will be futile. So we cheat people to defeat them. Duryodhana adapted gambling method because he cannot defeat Pandavas in direct confrontation. Ravana in Ramayana too uh, adopted a deceitful method to kidnap Sita because he knew that Rama single-handedly killed 14,000 soldiers when he fought with Kardujana in Janasthan. So, and Kardushan fought with Rama to avenge them, Rama and Lakshmana, because Lakshmana cut the nose of Surpanaka near Nasik. This news of cutting the nose of Surpanaka was taken to Ravana. He understood that if he followed the righteous way, he cannot lord over Sita. Therefore, he took the wrong method. When Ravana heard that Surpanaka's nose was cut and his generals Kardushan fought with Rama and Lakshmana in Janasthan and they were defeated, then he thought he would not take the method of war, but he will take a deceitful method to kidnap Sita Mata. Therefore, in general, wherever we want to lord over, there is a tendency to cheat. Now, this purport of Srila Prabhupada is very interesting. A living being in this pure state is not conditioned by laws, because in his pure state, he is conscious that living being is eternally subservient to Supreme Being, and thus it is always good for him to remain subservient instead of falsely trying to lord it over the property of the Supreme Lord. In conditioned state, the living being is not satisfied if he actually becomes a lord of all that he surveys, which he never becomes, and therefore he becomes a victim of all kinds of cheating, even with his nearest and most intimate relationship. In such an unsatisfactory state of affairs, there is no harmony between, even between father and sons or between husband and wife. But all these contending difficulties can be mitigated by one process, and that is devotional service for the Lord. The world of hypocrisy can be checked only by contraction through devotional service to the Lord, nothing else. Maharaj Yudhishthira, having observed the disparities, conjunctured the disappearance of Lord from earth. Here, in this verse, we see that the transactions between different relations getting polluted in their ordinary dealings. When Srila Prabhupada went to America, he brought with him Krishna Jnana. He brought Krishna in the form of chanting and dancing of the holy name. Krishna Prasada, Jagannath Rath Yatra, and Shastras like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, TT worship in the temple, book distribution to the living entities was suffering and so on. By these activities, all living entities become happy. So why they become happy? Srila Prabhupada was personally available to answer and guide his disciples. Thus, um, people around saw a complete transformation of surroundings. They were all becoming happy. They could not explain what type of happiness is this. Presence of Krishna and a pure devotee bring knowledge and religion into action immediately. Right now, uh, chanting and dancing of the holy name, Krishna Prasadam, Rathayatra, Shastras like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, deity worship in temple, book distribution, and reading books of Srila Prabhupada brings presence of Krishna and the pure devotee among us. This, to a large extent, helps us to overcome the cheating propensity. This results in increase in wisdom. Wisdom can grow only in sattva guna. Thus, Srila Prabhupada elevated people to sattva guna. Thus, Srila Prabhupada's methods, which he has given, will help us to elevate people, whoever practices Srila Prabhupada's process to Sattva Guna. Cheating, quarrel, hypocrisy, bad habits cannot remain in Sattva Guna. These qualities will prevail in Rajo and Tamo Guna only. If we are still having bad habits, we can understand that we are still in Rajo or Tamo Guna only. Srila Prabhupada turned things on to Sattva Guna. The morning program is the best example. If we see uncleanliness, unclean clothes lying here and there, then we can understand that there is no Sattva Guna there. We can find people cleaning and some guest is coming. They dump unclean things in rooms and declare no one should go there. Like this, if we can see in our homes and in personal life, um, when I say this, it means what is clean, what is unclean, what is sattva, what is rajo, what is tamo. This is the real knowledge. And when things are unclean, it is because of lower guna. Even if we have knowledge, we cannot activate it because we are in a lower mode of operation, which is tamo guna or rajo guna. When we are in sattva guna, the person feels very light like a swab of cotton. The person moves around with knowledge, renunciation, happiness everywhere. Srila Prabhupada is a classical example for this. So when he wrote this poem, Makene Bhagavat Dharma, this is the poem which he wrote at Boston Harbor, September 18, 1965. This is one specific line, which is Rajastamo Ate Tabe Paibe Nistar अदाय अभद्र गवे गुचिहे गुचिवे tahar. I'm reading this shloka. So what is the meaning of this? Srila Prabhupada wrote that line. He will become liberated from the influence of mode of ignorance and passion, and thus all inauspicious things accumulated in the code of the heart will disappear. So when we are in Sattva Guna, we are light. But when we are in mode of ignorance and passion, all inauspicious things are there, accumulated in the code of heart, but they get dissipated when we move to Sattva Guna. Rajo and Tamo Guna are the weights which should keep the living entity submerged in the ocean of material existence. Srila Prabhupada has given us the technique to come out of this water. Why? How? By taking the principles of Sattva chant, dance, eating prasadam, lying down on floor, everyday simple Sattva principles. Do not waste time in occupying this and that. Have a full class, full set of sadhana program in the morning and in the evening. So in Tamil Krishna Maharaj's book, Servant, he says that boys and girls used to go together for book distribution, and there was never a tinge of sex impulse in their minds. The tendency to make mischief with the opposite sex arises only when there is a Tamo and Rajoguna. When Krishna is present, there is knowledge, renunciation, and happiness, and ends Sattva renunciation of material desires, knowledge of the our relationship with Krishna, our relationship with other related. living entities, happiness that arises from shelter of Krishna. This will be experienced by devotee only when he is placed in Sattva-guna. Srila Prabhupada creates this Sattva-guna ambience to make a Westerner devotee into a Krishna conscious devotee, to make a mlecha into a qualified Brahmana. This is because the ambience is shifted from Rajo and Tamo to full Sattva. So we need to make the ambience which is Sattva. If we create a proper ambience for Krishna to come, then all living entities will be attracted to that. Yudhishthir Maharaj was a strong follower of Krishna and Bhishma. In a Rajarishi is a kingly rishi. In him, there are two components. One is Raja and the other one is Rishi. Krishna is a follower and maker of religious principle. Bhishma is the most knowledgeable person of Kshatriya Dharma. Krishna only ordered Yudhishthir Maharaj to follow Bhishma there. Bhishma gave instruction how to rule and Krishna gave instruction how to be dharmic. Yudhishthir got the best knowledge of both material and spiritual world. So he was the best Raja Rishi, he was the best saintly king. Thus, his rule was exemplary. When the nature was giving tax in the form of good environment, and there is no scarcity of anything. Seasonal fruits and flowers were there, rivers were flowing in full, living entities in the water, land, sky were all happy. They were all getting the required quota of food and shelter. Human beings were religious and pious. In such environment, everyone was cooperating. Children were very obedient to their parents. Students were obedient to teachers. Businessmen will keep marginal profit. Nobody dares to tell lie. Everybody knows the super soul is watching. Therefore, people were very mindful of what they spoke and what they did. This way, people lived a very religious and pious life. Because this, there was a happiness everywhere in Maharaj Yudhishthir's kingdom. When we lead a irreligious, when we lead a very irreligious life, there will be lot of dejection in this in our life. In this chapter, there will be a question asked by Yudhishthir Maharaj on the 11 causes of dejection or depression. So these 11 questions talk about 11 forms of rejections. These are nothing but list of irreligions. When we can have rejection or depression, when we are in path of irreligion. When we do a sin, we get miseries. This misery results in dejection or sadness. When we commit a virtue, it gets aligned with the order of Krishna, and this makes us happy. Since there is an alignment of soul and super soul, there is immediate production of happiness. So when we commit what is prescribed in Shastra, then we are aligned with the interest of Supreme Personality of God, and then that brings happiness. There is a very interesting shloka here. Savai pumsam paro dharmo यतो भक्ति अधोक्षजे अहितुकी अप्रतीयता yayatma suprasidati. The supreme occupation for all humanity is that by which a man can attain to loving devotional service to the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. Thus, the virtuous activity produces what? Um, Sata Bhakti Adok Saje, causeless upper. When we do virtuous activity, it produces Atma Suprasidati. It is complete, get completely satisfied. It produces happiness and and it produces happiness, and we remain completely aligned with Supreme Personality of God. We do activity with unmotivatedly, and that activity is uninterrupted by any obstacles. Thus, virtuous activity produces happiness, sinful activity produces misery. Yudhishthir Maharaj, for the first time, is seeing that religion is taking up the ugly form. There is one interesting shloka we can talk about that. जिहं प्रायं व्यवार्थं सात्या मिश्रं च सौहृदं पितृमातृसुहृद्भ्रातृ दम्पतीनां च कल्कनम्. All ordinary transactions and dealings became polluted with cheating, even between friends and in the family affairs. There was always misunderstanding. Mm. Okay, so I already opened the shloka. So this shloka is telling that Yudhishthir Maharaj is witnessing all this misunderstanding in the life. So he was seeing the misunderstanding about relatives. People are speaking loudly about others' qualities, especially elders. They were blaspheming them. There were quarrels. Businessmen are being becoming corrupt with black market. In addition to this, Yudhishthir Maharaj is also seeing many other bad omens. Yudhishthir Maharaj is realizing that something is wrong somewhere. These bad omens cannot be appearing without specific reasons. Therefore, Yudhishthir Maharaj is calling Bhima and he is discussing this point further. Arjuna went to Dwaraka 7 months back and he has not come back. So Yudhishthir Maharaj is thinking if Krishna has ascended to his own above. This was already told by Narada to Yudhishthir Maharaj. This question Yudhishthir Maharaj has already asked Bhima. That time, this question will be asked by him again when Arjuna is arriving at this place. निमित्तानि अतिष्ठानि काले च अनुगते नृणा लोभादि अधर्म प्रकृतिं दृष्ट्वो वाचानुजं कृपा. In course of time, it came to pass that people in general became accustomed to greed, anger, pride, etc. If the Maharaj Yudhishthira, observing all these women, spoke to his younger brother. Go to next shloka. युधिष्ठिरोवाच सम्प्रेषितो द्वारकायां जिष्णुर्बन्धो दिदिक्षया ज्ञातुं च पुण्यश्लोकस्य कृष्णस्य विच्चे स्थितम्. While Yudhishthira said to the younger brother Bhimasena, I sent Arjuna to Dwaraka to meet his friend and to learn about personality of Lord Krishna of his program of work. Text 7. गताः सप्तदूनमासा भीमसेने तवानुजा नायाति कस्य वा हेतो नाहं वेददम् अंजसा. Since he departed, 7 months have passed, yet he has not returned. I do not know factually how things are going on here. Therefore, we can see the mind of Yudhishthir Maharaj. He is constantly thinking about Lord Krishna. Now, sloka number 8. Api deva rishenadista sakalo ayam upastitaha yadatmano ankam akridam Bhagavan Utshishikshati. Is he going to quit his earthly pastime as Devrishi Narada indicated as that time already arrived? Now there is an interesting shloka here. निष्पादितं देवकृत्या अवशेषं प्रतीक्षते तावद्यूयम् अवेक्तव्यं भवेद्यावत् इहेश्वरः. Lord has already performed his duty to help the demigods and is awaiting um, the rest. You Pandavas may wait as long as the Lord is here of the earth. This instruction has come from Maharaja, from Narada Muni to Maharaj Yudhishthira. Then there is one more shloka. Krishne sadamupagate dharma jnanavivi saha kalau nashta krishamesha puranarko adinoditaha. The Bhagavad Purana is as brilliant as sun, and it has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied by religion, knowledge, etc. Persons who have lost their vision due to dense darkness of ignorance in the age of Kali shall get light from this Purana. There could be questions raised that Krishna left his body and hence he has a material form. There is such description in Mahabharata, so people can read it and come to us and ask many questions on this topic. So we will stop here. Let's stop here because the the explanation of this shloka is very important and we need to understand. Uh, we may run short of time if I take up this. We will go into deeper in this specific shloka in our next session. Thank you very much. Vancham kalpatarubhyascha, कृपासिन्धु भगवाच पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः. नमो नमः. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. जगतगुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय. गौर गुरुनानक हरि हरि बोल. जय कृष्ण.